Hello, this is Dominic from the Jack and Dom Radio Show, a weekly sports radio program, and although we broadcast on professional hardware, we do record our show mostly on my laptop, and sometimes I don't press record right when we start. Some shows will start right in the middle of a topic. Regardless, this show is a work of love and passion for sports with raw and transparent opinions between the two of us. So I hope you all enjoy. Hello, this is WPX 91.5 FM HCO in Marquette. Caught Jack talking about the show, stuff we're going to be talking about today. But anyway, just want to let all of you know the opinions said in the show do not represent the opinions of this radio station or university. That being said, good evening, everyone. Want to also remind everybody that the Jack and Dom Radio Show can now be found where you can find podcasts, whether it be on Amazon, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Just look up the Jack and Dom Radio Show, and you'll find the recordings of the show on there. That being said, Jack, how was Thanksgiving?
It was great. I had a really awesome break. I also celebrated my birthday on Sunday, which was a lot of fun. So it's been a very busy and very fun week for me. And day before my birthday, I got an extra special birthday gift that we will talk about later in the show. How was yours?
It was pretty good. Got to go down to Lansing to see my family and almost hit a deer on the way back up.
I got stuck in a 2-foot snowbank for 20 minutes. So
you got
you and I both had a long drive. Oh yeah.
Oh man. There were moments where I'm driving I lost grip.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're driving up and it's dark and it's snowy, right, and you don't have a lot of grip on the road and you see a deer,
it's not fun.
It's not fun. But if it's directly in front of you, there's nothing you can do.
Well,
because the amount of time you have to react is not enough considering the conditions.
My traction control fired about as much as the Buckeyes made mistakes on Saturday.
We're going to talk about that. I came back up on Friday because I had to operate
Sunday.
I had to operate because I had to operate the Jumbotron and music for the basketball game on Saturday.
Which we won.
Against a Division III opponent, Concordia. But the game was about tied.
I think we were up by
at halftime. Right? Yeah, and considering that Concordia hasn't won any games yet so far, the coach was not very happy about that. But that's all I know, as I wasn't in the locker room. And even if I was, I don't think it'd be fair to share any more specific details. But given that
obviously
our opponents,
disappointing performance.
It was a disappointing performance in the first half. However, got things rolling in the second half. And I didn't write this in the show sheet, but one of the star players in the team, Dylan Keel, was able to surpass 1,000 career points.
Woo!
That
good
game.
Job.
So,
what an impressive feat.
Yeah, we beat Concordia 70-58, and Gilead play will start on December 5th. It's a home game against Purdue Northwest for both the men and the women.
Good.
That is, just a few days' time.
Very excited for the men's basketball season this year. Let's see how that goes. On the other hand, NMU hockey drops back-to-back games 4-1 at Augustania. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it.
Augustania? Yeah.
I think so. Keep in mind, this is a team that only made their hockey program a couple of years ago and are going to be joining. I believe they officially join the CCHA next year. Could be wrong on that.
Before, I don't know.
Might have been
this year. I think it's this year, yeah.
So they've recently joined the CCHA or will soon. But we dropped both those 4-1 in a really disappointing performance. We will be hosting Ferris this week, Friday and Saturday. You can call it the bottom feeder game because that's two of the worst teams in the CCHA. So it'll be good to see if our hockey team can rebound against some easier competition or if we continue the free fall we've been in all year. But like we've talked about previously, right, the importance of building the culture, right? So you got to give this team time. You got to be patient, right?
Yep.
Not a watchable product right now. I'm not going to go to any games, but patience is key. This team has history. They've been good. not like the football team where they haven't done anything since like the 70s. This team has been good recently. So just give it time. Let them build a program. These things take time. Patience, patience, patience with the hockey team. So year one of a rebuild. Speaking of hockey, though, there is a hockey team that I have a little bit less patience with.
Oh.
And that is your Detroit Red Wings, who have now dropped back-to-back games 5-4 to the Devils and the Canucks. Both their starting goalie and their backup goalie are injured, so they've had to call up a guy that they haven't played in weeks because he's bad, in Ville Husso. And we've called up our young goalie from the AHL, Kosa. So hopefully he gets some playing time and we can really see what he's made of. But when you lose 5-4 against two okay teams, I mean, the Canucks are pretty good, but the Devils are just okay. When you are constantly playing poorly on the power play and the power kill, when you're one of the worst teams in the league at generating goals, if you look at the standings right now, the Red Wings are on par with teams like the Senators, Canadiens, and Islanders. Basically, we are the bottom, close to the bottom of the Eastern Conference, the Eastern Division. We're doing poorly in the Atlantic. We have just 63 goals scored, which, if you take a look at the numbers, we are, by the data, the worst team in the entire Eastern Conference at scoring goals.
Okay.
And if I look at the Western Conference, I have a feeling it's not going to be much better. Only the St. Louis Blues and the Anaheim Ducks. I guess the Anaheim Ducks are worse at scoring goals.
You know, I just watched a TikTok video about the Anaheim Ducks. Do you know how they got started?
Huh.
Literally the year before they got started, Disney made a movie about like the Ducks, some hockey team called the Anaheim Ducks. I think it was Anaheim Ducks or something.
Huh.
And apparently it was popular enough that they started a NHL team.
Well, I keep talking about the Red Wings. You should fact check that because I'm curious. Yeah. When you are tied for second worst in the NHL at scoring goals, your defense has let in 76 goals, which when you look at those numbers, you're about middle of the road there. Not great, not terrible. But again, when you've only scored 63, that's a problem. And this is a Red Wings team. Go ahead. Did you find the Anaheim?
So, have you seen the movie The Mighty Ducks?
I thought that was after.
No, that came out in 1992.
Right. I thought that was based on the Mighty Ducks, no?
The Anaheim Ducks came out in 1993, or started in 1993.
Huh. Okay.
A year after, yeah.
That is new to me. I'm not much of a hockey guy, although I'm trying to be. But anyway, the Red Wings, this was supposed to be the year after the close missed playoff performance last year. This is supposed to be the year where we kind of turned the corner, made the playoffs, saw some development in our young players, had Kane, Tarasenko, Talbot, and our other veterans anchoring our minds. Like, this was supposed to be the year where we could make the playoffs and make some noise. And I get it. It's December.
Yeah.
It's late in the year, but it's early in the hockey season.
Yeah.
So, say I'm being pessimistic, but the team is not playing well. The talent level, I think, is not as good as some other teams in the Eastern Conference, although I think it's inexcusable to be worse than the Blue Jackets, for goodness sakes, and the Sabres and the some other teams like that. So some inexcusable teams that we should be better than there. And also just the fact that offensively we've been a dumpster fire. We've been bad in the power play, bad in the penalty kill.
Yeah.
And so and I think a lot of other Red Wings fans, especially Red Wings fans that are a lot more invested than I am, are asking questions about if it's time to do a coaching change and if it's time to make a GM change. Our GM is very widely respected in the league. Obviously, Steve Yzerman, a Red Wings legend, always will be. But it brings into question if some major organizational changes need to be made because this team has a lot of really good young players. You know, Lucas Raymond. We've got guys like Kosa coming up through the system. Other guys that are young and talented, and they're not being properly developed. Our veterans are not playing as well as they should be. We're making questionable personnel decisions. Like, I know I'm the pessimistic one on this show, and you're always trying to caution me about my pessimism, except the time I thought the Pistons were going to be great, and then they lost like 20 straight after I made that comment.
I still remember that.
Yeah, they started 2-0, and I said, great season, and nope.
I should make that into a sound bit and then, like, press a button.
That'd be
Like
funny.
when you press the button, it just repeats that. Yeah,
you can do
the
that every
soundboard.
time I make a bad take. Be like, remember this one?
But the thing is, so you don't know. With a lot of these takes, even
That's
mine
true.
and
There's
yours,
speculation.
you don't know it's a bad
That's
take
true.
until after the fact.
Well, yeah, and I think most of my takes have actually been semi-good.
Yeah.
Except for that Pistons one. That one
just was
one's
funny.
bad.
That one stands out.
Point being, Red Wings are not playing up to par, and it's really frustrating. So we'll see if they make a coaching change in the near future. If Sebastian Kosa, our star goalie prospect, is able to do something in the NHL. We apparently have one of the worst penalty kills in NHL history, which is extremely unacceptable. So it's been...
That's when we're down a player, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a tough start to the season. A season where I was really optimistic that we could make a playoff run. Most experts thought we would decline, but I don't think even the experts thought we declined to this degree. So just disappointing from the Red Wings. I expect better. I think a lot of Michiganders expect better. This team really hasn't been in relevant contention since the 2000s. 2008 when we won it. 2009 when we lost in heartbreaking fashion to the Sidney Crosby Penguins, and I believe it was 7 games, but I could be wrong. Since then, early 2010s, you had Datsuk, Zetterberg. You were an okay team. You kept the streak going, your record playoff streak. But you weren't good. You were kind of middle of the pack average.
Yeah.
Barely snuck into the playoffs. And then kind of collapsed second half of the 2010s, and it hasn't come back since. But really, you haven't contended for anything since 2008, 2009.
What was it, the Joe Millis Arena? Or what was that arena called?
Joe Louis.
Joe Louis, yeah.
Well, we've gotten worse since we built the LCA, but we were bad even before that. But it's just been about 15 years of mediocrity.
The reason why I bring that up is because did we get bad after we went? We got to
no, we were bad way before the LCA. It just
was it Little Caesars?
Yeah,
right.
LCA,
The pizza.
No, we've been bad since before that.
I always wanted to say pizza.
But it's just frustrating as a casual fan of this team. I'm sure it's even more frustrating for people who are really invested to know of our history and just realize that we are not meeting those expectations. Detroit should be a place where people want to play, and it's just not because we aren't playing an attractive brand of hockey and we aren't playing well. And the personnel decisions are questionable.
Of course.
So I think it's just frustrating for me as even a casual fan. So I can only imagine what, diehard Red Wings fans are going through.
Now the Pistons doing? They say they're stuck in second gear. What's going on?
Well, my poor Pistons.
I know.
Oh man. They are currently sitting at
Number 10.
Yeah, they're 10th in the standings. They're sitting at a record of
9
and 13, but they're 4-6 in their last 10, and they've kind of been fading down the stretch. Really, the big problem that the Pistons have is they've got a superstar in Cade Cunningham, a rising star in Jaden Ivey, a couple veteran players. Malik Beasley is solid. Tobias Harris has his moments. But beyond Cade Cunningham, even though you've got some young players and some decent veterans, there's no kind of secondary scorer. And so when the Pistons go up against good teams like the 76ers, they really struggle. So it's critical, I think, for the Pistons, especially with Cunningham being out at the moment, that they try to find a second scorer. So it's really critical that they do that. And I think it's going to be tough, but I think the Pistons are kind of at a point where they've got a young core, and they've either got to blow up the young core and realize that they're not going to win anything in the present, trade Cade or trade other pieces, probably not Cade, but other pieces, and hope that you get some more young talents to pair with the ones you have. Or you've got to trade some of those young talents, get out and get a proven scorer, and do well. I guess I would caution, though, a little bit, and I know you don't know as much about the Red Wings and Pistons, so I'll keep these segments short. But I would caution a little bit. I don't know how much you remember Pistons basketball in the past decade or so.
I mean, yeah, I kind of remember a little bit
so
of the
do you remember the
04
Blake
Pistons.
Griffin trade?
Yes.
So the Blake Griffin trade.
That was supposed to be a big thing, but it wasn't.
The Pistons were on the brink of contention.
Where is he now?
I think he's out of basketball, or with he might be with the Nets.
Okay.
He's long done being a star player, though. But the Pistons acquired Blake Griffin for a number of players and a number of picks in an attempt to get out of their mediocre state. They were a solid basketball team, not a good basketball team.
Celtics.
Okay, he's on the
Celtics
Celtics
right now.
But he's a rotational player. He's not.
Yeah.
But they acquired him as a superstar player in an attempt to boost them.
Wait. No. He played 1 year for the Boston Celtics in 22-23, and that's it.
That's what I thought. Yeah, he's out of basketball.
Yeah, he's done.
Point being, they acquired him. He was supposed to be a superstar, and it didn't end up working out, and it set back the Pistons several years. So I caution against trading for a veteran scorer at this time because the Pistons, I don't think, have a good enough supporting cast to justify that.
Yeah.
The amount of picks you'd have to give up, the amount of players. So I think for now, you need to stand pat, kind of a wait and see, to see, if this team is going to, be a contender moving forward or not. If you start getting closer to 500, maybe you're like 20-20 halfway through the season, okay, justifiable. If you keep continuing to fall down the standings, then you maybe need to trade some veterans. You've got some good ones like Malik Beasley and Tobias Harris, and continue to build your young core. But I think for the Pistons, they're stuck in this rut of you're okay. You're not good, you're not bad, you're okay. So I think, unfortunately for us fans, you have to stand pat, see what happens, and go from there. But there's really not much I want to harp on there because it's one of those things where it's really, really hard to know what to do about it. Speaking of knowing...
I just want to mention it because you mentioned Blake Griffin. The last NCAA basketball video game that came
had him
out
on the cover. Oh, yeah.
in 2010 had him on the cover.
By the way, now that NCAA football is back, I'm really crossing my fingers. I know it won't happen, but I'm hoping those games come back.
I've been playing that game again recently on not on
I have PlayStation
on All American mode, so not the hardest difficulty.
You're talking about CFB or CBB?
CFB, college football.
Yeah,
the new college football video game.
I was debating getting it on my friend's console, but
I went on Dynasty mode, played. I'm on the on my third season now, and
we're building MSU
where Childs is actually good.
Oh, okay.
And apparently I was able to get myself into the Big Ten championship game, playing Ohio State, a team that I lost that season, and then somehow I smoke them 62-34. I didn't even change the difficulty at all. Apparently my running game was just good enough, or not good enough, great, that I was able to keep going down the field very often.
Sounds like Kenneth Walker to me. But yeah.
Yeah.
As of right now,
I have to play Notre Dame in the college football playoff.
As of right now in our current state, I don't think Michigan State's going to be back to that level for a while. But we'll see. Speaking of Michigan State, though.
Yep, we know we lost against Rutgers.
Blown out by Rutgers. Missing a bowl game, I think.
Not bowl eligible, unfortunately.
I know that you're the Michigan State fan and I'm not, but I know that Michigan State fans in my life are very, very disappointed by that result.
You don't always get what you want.
Right, but
like the song.
Some commentators made a good point that it gives you extra time to hit the transfer portal, build the program, develop your guys.
Yep.
You were never going to be in a good bowl game. It would have been some minor bowl game.
Yeah, I know.
You probably would have lost.
Maybe. Yeah.
So you get the chance to get a couple extra weeks to work on the program. You have your coaching staff in place. Now it's time to hit the transfer portal hard and hit recruiting hard. So I don't think there's much to harp on with Michigan State. I just think tough first season. And next season, I think you really got to see at least 7 wins to say, okay, we're moving in the right direction. If you go 5 wins again, even 6 wins again, I start questioning if Michigan State is moving in the right direction. But right now, I think it's year 1. Got to give them time. Had some tough luck in the Michigan game and some other ones. So, it's a wait and see.
It is.
But, yeah, I think if you're a Michigan State fan, you have every right to be disappointed.
Did you predict them going 5-7 or 4-8?
I was somewhere in there, so finally I have a prediction that hits the nail on the head.
Did I say 7-5 or 6?
Yeah, you said I was delusional that they'd miss the bowl game. But point being, you have every right to be disappointed. It sucks to miss a bowl game.
It does.
We had some seasons that were concerning and rough, but It gives Michigan State some extra time to work on building that program, which is going to be a lot of work for them, obviously. They've got a long way to go. But they hit the transfer portal well the last few years, even under Mel Tucker.
Yeah.
And so the way...
Tuck coming. Out of here.
Oh, but the way for Michigan State to sustain their success, to continue their success of yesteryear, is to do that. Is to hit the portal. They're never going to recruit at a high level. Mark D'Antonio is gone. Jonathan Smith may or may not be a good coach in his own right for Michigan State, but you're not getting someone as dominant as D'Antonio back anytime soon. So, building through the portal is...
I miss the Connor Cook, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins still in the NFL.
But the point is, you're going to have to build through the portal.
Yeah.
I don't want to harp on this one either because it made me really angry. But Cardinals blew it against the Vikings, lost by a point. My second favorite team, boo. So the Vikings continue to maintain a very close pace behind us. We almost lost to the gosh darn Bears, but Matt Eberflus said, hey, I'm going to blow my clock management again.
I don't know what
Which is about as predictable as the sky being blue.
And it's...
And then he got canned the next day.
I don't think he knows, like what was going through his mind, because I think the whole team, or at least a lot of the upper people in charge of making decisions, just somehow it was too much. It was too much for them, and it just like they didn't make a decision. Like there are times where making a bad decision is better than not making a decision at all. And this was one of those where they just didn't make a decision because they had one more timeout.
They needed to either kick a field goal or spike it or call a timeout. None of the three.
And they made none of the three.
And I get it to some degree because you had 2 field goals blocked in the past 2 games. So the concern was there. But you could have at least spiked the ball, talked about it, put in a certain protection package to either tie the game or gone for the win, which, given the way the Lions were playing in the secondary and how beat up they were, I think Caleb could have got it. But, again, the Bears mismanaged the clock for the 3rd straight game. 4th straight humiliating last-minute loss. Just disappointing all around. I really don't think there's much to harp on in terms of Lions-Bears.
I've been on TikTok and all that. It is my opinion that for all the Bears fans out there, which I obviously do feel bad for you, because 5 straight losses, 3 of them like literally based off the last play of the game.
3 1-score games on the last play of the game.
Okay. For the few Bears fans that are here at NMU, it is my opinion that you should probably go to counseling services. We have at NMU counseling services available to you. If that is something that let me say this. It's my opinion. Take this with humor in mind, okay? But Bears fans out there on campus, I know there's a few of them. I talked to a few of them. I know there are some. Please go to please talk to a therapist. Please go to therapy sessions, and because you guys are tweaking out there. Like, your brains are broken. You guys are like just mental wise not there anymore because of the consistent week after week after week heartbreak and sadness. So please talk to a therapist.
Hey, I got a much better solution.
You will need it. You will need it.
Just jump ship.
I don't know.
Become a Lions or a Packers fan. Stop doing this to yourself.
I didn't jump ship when the Lions went 0-16. I've been a Lions fan since 2006.
Well, you've got a lot more mental fortitude than some people. But
that is true.
Those of you that are Bears fans,
I will take that.
Switch teams. Save yourself a lifetime of pain.
Yeah.
You're becoming the new Lions. Just change. But I think this is what's going to take up the majority.
I respect the
No,
fandom.
I respect you, and I respect you sticking to it, your team. But I feel for you, but, switch teams.
Yeah.
For your own mental sake, switch teams.
I mean, I know people who are from the Chicago area, so, that's their local team.
You live in Michigan. If you listen to the show, more than likely you'll live in Michigan. So, or you're at least at NMU. So, switch teams. Just for the sake of your health.
Yeah.
Switch teams. Or just stop caring. You can't continue.
Well, sure, but like
I know it's tough. Like, it's your local team. But there's only so much you can
it's on
take.
it's on Thanksgiving Day. You're with your family,
Right, and it ruins Thanksgiving. It ruins Thanksgiving for us.
It nearly ruined ours.
Well, it did for ours too, because the Lions lose every year, and we were like, here we go again. 8th straight Thanksgiving loss. Now, thank God the Bears won up Lions embarrassing losing. But yeah. So
now I do want to ask you. The first half though, that was like the Lions did like great.
But they changed their game plan, and because Gibbs had one fumble, they took him out of the game, and that was a mistake.
At the 5-yard line, though.
And they tried to throw the ball a lot against a decent pass defense and really went away from the run. And then when they did run, they ran it straight up the middle, consistent, very basic vanilla plays.
Mm-hmm.
They need to get back to what they're good at. Especially against Green Bay. You can't screw around.
Yes.
You can't have unsportsmanlike penalties on Jameson Williams. You can't have...
Jameson Williams, man, that guy...
Yeah, you can't have Jahmyr Gibbs sharing pictures on the internet of Lions play calls. You can't have...
Yeah, that was...
You can't have Kendall Vildor ever touch that field again. You can't have Terrion Arnold with costly PI penalties. Like, you got to stop the mental mistakes.
The coach was asked about the social media picture.
He
didn't know. So
right.
He's like, I'm going to go talk to him.
Yeah, he joked he'd bench Gibbs. But the point is, like, you live, you learn, use it. I don't know, maybe use the cadence that you've changed to pretend like you haven't and completely throw the defense up. You know, there's opportunities there. But again, these are basic things that you shouldn't have happen. Fumbles can fix it. Discipline can fix it. Poor play calling can fix it. You know, sharing pictures on the internet of plays can fix it, right? So you got to go to the Green Bay game on Thursday at Ford Field and play your A game.
It's another Thursday game.
Green Bay has been on fire. Yeah. Other than Philadelphia, which I'm also concerned about passing the Lions for the 1 seed. They've been the hottest team in the NFL recently. Yeah, the Lions have 10 straight wins, but they haven't looked good, especially not against the Bears. So,
well, hold on. You can't say that.
Yes, they've not looked good the last
24-6 against the Colts, 52-6 against the Jaguars.
Jaguars.
You can't tell me, the Lions are
just
poor.
Listen. The last 4 games, I've been woefully unimpressed. Correct me if I'm wrong. 4 games ago was Houston, right?
Against a good Houston team.
Houston is actively imploding, and they're only going to win the division.
Okay, but they're still good. They're still a good Houston team.
They're above average.
No, I disagree.
That's fine, but in my opinion, they're above average. And you went in there, and I was impressed you won. But you played about the worst you could play.
Sure, yeah, 5 interceptions.
Right, but that was bad.
But
you should have won that game by a hell of a lot more.
That's true.
Okay?
But it was still a win.
Second game, Jacksonville's a CFL team. They don't count. That team's a joke.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Congratulations, you ran up the score, but they're a joke. Okay? My mom could throw a touchdown against the Jacksonville defense.
That's not true.
I exaggerate, but they're bad. Okay, worst team, one of the top 5 worst teams.
They're the worst teams. Yeah,
you should have won that game by 46 points. The Colts, if Anthony Richardson,
24-6, come on, that's a good win.
If you watch the second half, Detroit's offense went stagnant, and the Colts are not a good team, so they couldn't take advantage. Again,
the Colts are mid.
If you played like that,
Colts are mid.
My point is this: you played fine, but if you played like you did against the Texans or the Colts or the Bears. Against the Packers and Bills in the next 2 weeks, it won't work.
I agree with you.
You haven't looked good, and that's got to change. Whatever you did against Jacksonville, yeah, they're a CFL team, but you got to do that again. Okay? Get back to fundamentals, run the football. Gibbs and Montgomery are a good combo.
They are.
But there needs to be more Gibbs.
Yeah.
Gibbs is a star. Montgomery is good. You got to have somebody that can eat yards and be a power back.
Yep.
But Gibbs is a superstar. Every time he touches the ball, every time he touches the ball, there's a chance of a touchdown.
Oh yeah, because you blink, he's down 20 yards and gone.
You got to continue throwing the ball to J-Mo deep and keep defenses honest, because if you start running J-Mo on streaks, you pull a safety and you pull a corner, and then you can start running the ball with more effectiveness. Keep running Tim Patrick on the crossers, because I swear to God, I haven't seen him drop or miss a pass at all this year.
Yep. Which let me just mention, our enemy football team has never been able to do something like that. Never able to force their defense to play honest. Didn't happen. Just option plays.
No, but I would say too. So get J-Mo involved in the deep passes.
Yes.
Continue to give the ball to Tim Patrick.
Yep. Keep
the trick plays going because they work. They keep the defense honest and they're fun to see. Keep Gibbs and Montgomery going. Give
Yep.
Gibbs more carries, but keep Montgomery in there. He bleeds the clock. He runs the ball.
And he hits hard when
Goff-
he goes right through.
Goff has a decent stat line the last few weeks, but my dad and I have talked about this when we've watched
Okay.
him the last couple weeks. There will be open receivers, Laporta mostly, but I've seen it with other guys, St. Brown also.
Yeah.
They will be open, and he will underthrow them, overthrow them, or throw it behind them.
Okay.
And yeah, he only does that 5-6 times a game. But again, 5-6 times a game of you missing wide open receivers against the Green Bay Packers is
It's
going to
gonna
come back to
cost
bite you.
Yep.
It's going to cost you. So he's got to clean up his game. And then the last thing I would say is the reserves that they're bringing in are guys that are supposedly over the hill or guys that really haven't played. Right? You got Jonah Williams from the Rams on the defensive line who really hasn't played. You got the guy from Seattle whose name escapes me on the defensive line who also really hasn't played much. So 2 guys with not a lot of experience, but they should be able to slot in and replace guys like Ozurike and some of the others that really don't have much experience and really haven't been that good themselves. But you got to get somebody opposite Za'Darius. I think Muhammad played admirably against the Bears, but you need somebody with a little bit more experience and power. And you got to get as healthy as possible. After this game, you got a 10-day break until the Bills, and you got to be really healthy for that game.
Yeah. The Bills is going to be a test.
Well, you got to have everybody healthy possible for that game. But yeah, I think you got to be ready for the Packers, and you got to slot those guys in there and be ready.
So do you think Detroit's strategy should be try to run up the score as quickly as possible
No.
so that you can
No.
reduce using your starters
Absolutely not.
for the Bills
No.
game? No.
Play
Okay.
it conservative. You will get into big
Okay.
trouble if you chuck it deep against Green Bay because Xavier McKinney is the best safety in the NFL right
Well,
now.
I'm not talking about chuck it deep. I'm talking about like 2-minute game.
No. Keep
Okay.
it slow. Keep it on the ground. Do not let the Packers touch the
Okay.
football. That's your strategy to winning.
Okay.
Okay, Packers are also a run-heavy team, but you play your best ball. When you build a lead, you run the ball, you beat the clock, you limit possessions.
And you still try to get try to get a score out of it.
Right. Now, the Lions are obviously a lot more pass-heavy
Okay.
than Michigan the last 3 years.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing as the Michigan mantra. You're more physical, run the ball, bleed the clock, limit possessions, right? That's how Michigan's beat Ohio State
get
4
something out of
times
it.
in a row,
Yeah.
right? Lions do the same thing. Obviously, you've got Goff. He's a much better quarterback than Davis Warren, and you've got a genius play caller who will be a head coach next year.
Yeah, I know.
Probably for Cincinnati.
There are
because-
betting odds now.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the offensive defensive coordinator are like number 1 and number 3 in Vegas
Right.
when it comes to
So I would just say
being
stick
head
to your
coach.
game plan, right? Run heavy. Outside the tackles for Gibbs, that's where he excels in space. Inside the tackles for Montgomery, that's where he excels in pushing the pipe. So rely on that run. When you get the run going, you can get the play action going. You can start sending J-Mo deep. You can send Tim Patrick on mid routes, and you can send St. Brown wherever the hell you want. Laporta's apparently been a dead body out there the last few weeks, but eventually he's going to get going. And that'll really open up some things in the pass game. In terms of defense, you've got a skeleton crew out there. Emmanuel Mosley, who's been back from the ACL that he's torn twice, I think. He's been out for over 1.5 years. Gotta play him. I get it. He's coming back from injury. He hasn't played. But I'm sorry. Kendall Vildor can never touch that field again after the NFC Championship game. And I don't know if you saw against the Bears, he got targeted consistently because the Bears knew they could beat him. So
I do want to let you know Taylor Decker is and DJ Reader are questionable for
Reader will likely play. Decker, I think, is out. That to me
and
is not a
Carlton
big
Davis
deal.
is also questionable.
Davis has to be back. That's a must.
Okay.
Decker, not a big deal. Reader would be a big deal too.
Josh
Reader,
Pascal and I cannot pronounce his Levi
Uzurike is out.
is questionable.
Okay, he's probably not going to play. Pascal won't play, I don't think. But Reader and Carlton have to be back. If you get Carlton Davis back, you can have a secondary of Carlton. Terry and Arnold will be back and healthy. You've got Amik Robertson at the slot. And you've got Emmanuel Mosley who can come in on third downs and be a secondary guy. And we're depleted at linebacker, but Lions resurrected Jared Goff's career. They resurrected Alex Anzalone's career. They have a track record of resurrecting players' careers. And I'm sure you probably saw the news this week. We just signed a former All-Pro safety to play linebacker in Jamal Adams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we also signed a former All-Pro linebacker, Quan Alexander, from the Broncos. Now, they're past their prime. They're
But they have a
older,
lot of knowledge
but
and
they've got a lot of
experience.
knowledge and experience. They will slot nicely across from your young guy in Jack Campbell.
Yeah.
They can blitz. You've got David Long, who you signed a couple of weeks ago. So you've got 3 veteran linebackers with experience that have played at an all-co caliber level in the past. I don't expect any of them to play in that level again, and neither should you. But you've got experienced guys in there who can do what they need to do. Jamal Adams, I saw the meme on social media. Dan and Aaron Glenn, if they can get him back to his best and start motivating him, that guy will turn back into prime Ed Reed, I guarantee it. If you can get him back on track. I don't think that'll happen. But the guy's really talented. He's a really hard hitter. And he'll bring experience to a defense that desperately needs experience and depth. Because you don't really have a third safety either. So if Branch or Kirby goes down, he can slide in there easily. And if you're short a corner, you can put Jamal Adams at safety and put Brian Branch in the nickel. So it gives you some versatility on defense. So I like the signings. And Green Bay, you're going to have your defense at your best. The pass rush is going to have to get home. That secondary's got to stop the talented Packers receivers. So you got to get as many guys healthy as you can in the next 3 days. So we'll see. I think they're going to win, but I think it's going to be a tough one. And I think you've got to stick to what you do well. You've got to stick to your fundamentals. Mm-hmm. You've got to play at your best.
Well,
and they have it. And
before we continue that, I know we're a few minutes late on the station ID, but I just want to let you know that this is WUPX 91.5 FM H1 Marquette. This is the Jack and Dom radio show, just talking about Lions. Other things, but ESPN has this game as a 58.9% chance of the Lions winning.
I think the Lions will win, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
Is it going to be a high-scoring game, or it's
going to
be
right
close? But okay,
I'm going to say 28-24 Lions.
Okay, considering that I have people that I work with who are Packers fans.
Yeah.
People
they're awfully confident too
on the enemy basketball team that I intern for that are Packers fans. The coach Coach Matt's a Packers fan. They're all from Wisconsin, so they're big Packers fans. Although if the Lions win, they're not gonna say anything.
Right. So let's go win that game. I think we will, but it's
family. I have family that are Packers fans.
I've got a lot of Packers friends too. So we'll see.
So Lions need to
bring their A game. They need to bring their A+ game this week and their A++ game next week.
Yeah.
You got to play a perfect game, no turnovers. Jared Goff's got to go back to MVP level like he was pre-Houston game. No more of this like.
At least when we play against the Bills, it's going to be at home.
This is home.
Yeah, I know, but
both are.
But I just saw the Bills, some highlights of the Bills, 49ers.
Now you got to remember the Niners are a terrible football.
Though.
But they're a bad football team though. The Niners are bad. Okay, we're going to beat them. We're going to get revenge.
But I was worried about like the crazy weather. That's what
I get that.
So
okay, the easily biggest topic of this week, which we'll cover in the next 12-13 minutes, is as a Michigan fan. Driving home on Saturday.
I do want to ask you this because it's based off of a chant you guys do. Was it great to be a Michigan Wolverine? Or what's the song today?
It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine.
That's what I wanted to.
It was.
I wanted to turn that into a question.
Oh yes, it was great to be a Michigan Wolverine.
Okay,
but here's the thing: is I actually on my drive up here was at about St. Ignace, right before the bridge. I turned on Bayern Dortmund because I was like, I'm not dealing with Michigan losing by 30. Just not appealing.
Yeah.
I go across the bridge. I stop in St. Ignace, get some food. It's like 10-3 Ohio.
McDonald's or what?
Yeah.
I go to that one all the time.
Right, you got it. It's the easiest place. But
yeah.
Ohio State's up 10-3. I'm like, okay. Or no, Michigan was actually up 10-3. And I was like, okay. This has been fun, but they're going to come back and win now. And they tie at 10-10 at the end of the half. So I'm like, okay. I'm not going to watch this. Like, I see the writing on the wall. Like, we are the clearly inferior team. We are without Will Johnson, our best defensive player. Without Colson Loveland, our best offensive player. We have an offensive coordinator who needs to get sent straight back to the Stone Age. Maybe NMU should hire him because he would fit right in here.
They should hire Robert Saleh. He's a alum.
Well, we're not getting rid of our football coach, I don't think. But anyway,
No.
back to Michigan, though. Thought for sure they'd lose. We go in the second half, and I get past like Harvey, past Munising towards the end of the game. Actually, I'm in Munising. And I make a stop to like go to the bathroom and get food and stuff. And I come back, and Michigan had converted a critical third down and was driving on the goal line. So I got really excited. I was like, okay, Michigan's about to take a 17-10 lead. Still think they're going to lose, but I'm like, okay, like this is good stuff. And they throw an interception on the goal line.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, Michigan did it twice.
Yep.
Ohio State did it twice. Holy crap, our defense was clutch in that game.
Yes.
2 major interceptions. But that one hurt. And then towards the end of the game, we drive, it was third down, and Ryan Day calls back-to-back timeouts because of the 12 men on the field, gets a penalty, gives us an automatic first down. We burn an extra minute and change.
Yep.
Which, at the end of the game, Ohio State had a wide-open check down that could have been a first down and more, but they couldn't call it because they had no timeouts and an inability to stop the clock. You have an extra minute plus from that not 12-man penalty, that could change things. But anyway, Michigan wins. Fight happens. Schools are fine.
Yeah, that was crazy.
The fight to me is
There were
ridiculous.
like 3 rounds of just
Right.
the 2 mobs coming together and then separating,
First off, though,
and then separating, and then a bunch of cops, like 100
you
cops showed
first
up.
off, you shouldn't be spraying players with pepper spray, but
That was interesting.
That's not the point I want to make. Okay, it has been a treasured part of this sport for flag planting. Ohio State has torn down our banner before, the Go Blue banner that we hit.
Yeah, I remember seeing a video about
They've
that.
torn down our banner.
Yep.
They've planted their flag on our territory.
Yep.
I think we've done it before on theirs.
Yep.
Oklahoma planted a flag on their territory when Baker Mayfield was there.
Baker Mayfield did it.
Oregon and Texas both planted flags on our territory this year. Okay, this is a thing that happens. Whether you like it or not, it happens. And I like it because it ups the ante in the rivalry. You get pissed, and then you go back next year and you say, we're not letting them do this in our house again, right?
Yeah.
I guess it's 2 years because you don't go back home for another 2.
Yeah.
But you don't let it happen again. And there's a couple factors I want to bring in mind. I'm not saying do it every time you win a rivalry. Okay, stop. If it was, Michigan beating Ohio State that year, they had an interim coach, okay. You don't need to flag plant for that. But you were an unranked team.
Yep.
The biggest spread since like 1960 something.
Yep.
You were projected to lose by 22.5. Ohio State was cocky. There was a fan that spit on our players. Jack Sawyer was crap talking our guys as we came out of the tunnel. Like Ohio State was cocky.
Yes.
And they deserved everything they got. When we lost like 9 out of 10 to Urban and his predecessor, like we took
8
it
out
with
of
grace.
10 to Urban Meyer. You guys didn't beat
No,
Urban
it was
Meyer.
7 out of 7 with Urban Meyer, but I'm saying including his predecessor in the interim and all that.
What was Luke Fickell? Yeah.
Luke Fickell was the interim, and then Tressel, I believe, was pre-Luke Fickell. Point being, we'd get mad at our players for being bad and losing, but other than 2016, which I will say till my dying day was a win for Michigan.
Okay.
JT was short. Another conversation.
Yep, I remember.
JT was short, but I'll never forgive them for that. Ohio State refs and all that crap.
Yeah.
Ohio State grads as ref is insane.
Yeah.
But point being, other than that game, which I think we did truly win, we took it with relative grace. We lost. We said okay. We were pissed at our guys and our coaches, but we never
think we never grace.
No, but we never went up to them and started a fight. Except when they tore down the banner, and that's different because that isn't okay.
That's
flag planting is like you can say you don't like it, but it is a part of the sport.
Yeah.
Tearing down banners and going into opposing teams like as they're coming out of the locker room is that you cannot do this.
Yeah.
That is officially against the rules. So that's different. But other than that, which I think happened in the 90s, so it was a while ago, we haven't been crybabies about losing. Like, of course, we're pissed at Harbaugh, we're pissed at our other coaches for losing, but we don't beat up Ohio State players, we don't prevent the flag planting, like we lose with grace.
Yeah.
The botch snap was horribly embarrassing against Michigan State. Like
trouble with the snap, the ball is free.
It gives me PTSD to think about.
It's been picked up by Michigan State.
The point is, we didn't go out.
I remember the line.
Right. The point is, we didn't go out and beat up Michigan State players afterwards. I don't know if you planted a flag. I wouldn't be surprised if you did. but we took it with grace, right? I think it's really ridiculous.
I don't know.
But here's the other important part of this.
I don't think it was.
If you look at just this game, yes, I know what you're showing me. The 1973 LSU batter incident. But the point is, if you had so much aggression after the game to protect your territory from the flag, okay?
Mm-hmm.
From the flag planting, why didn't you show that intensity during the game? Okay?
Good question.
Number 2, Sharon Moore jumped into that fight and tried to break it up.
Yeah, I saw.
Him and his assistants were actively trying to break up the fight. Maybe he knew about the flag being planted. Maybe he didn't. Don't get it hypothetical.
Yeah.
There's no point.
Yeah.
Whether or not he knew is irrelevant. He tried to break it up when the fight started, okay? He was in the midst of it, pushing his guys away. His assistants were in the midst of it, pushing guys away. And Justin Avant, the sideline reporter, a Michigan guy, actually came in there and grabbed the flag from Jack Sawyer and saved it, which is good for him. But
who was it? Who was it that?
Jason or Justin Avant, former Michigan player and sideline reporter from Fox. Okay. Michigan guy saved the flag. But the point is,
I was like, who?
You had Michigan
who
coaches
came in and grabbed
You had
it.
Michigan coaches in that huddle trying to break it up. Okay, and Ryan Day was standing on the sidelines, letting it happen. Okay,
He was there. There was no thought in his mind.
Right, but I get it. You're mad you lost, but it is unacceptable
with
for the
his
coach.
team captain standing next to him, screaming at an assistant, an assistant, be like, "No, plant a flag on our field" or something like that. You know,
Jack Sawyer is ridiculous. But the point is, you and your team captain stood there and watched and let it happen. Okay, you said nothing.
Yeah.
You could have gotten in there and tried to break it up. You could have told your players not to react. But as you've done in past years where you've blamed it on the flu in 2021, because CJ Stroud apparently had the flu, then in 2022
Jordan played with the flu.
Right, and he won the game. But the point is, 2021 you blamed it on the flu. 2022 you blamed it on the weather. 2023 you blamed it on science healing. Okay? And then this year you were just unprofessional and you started a fight that you shouldn't have started. You want to argue flag planting shouldn't have happened? Fine. Let the police handle that. Let Michigan get disciplined by the Big Ten and the NCAA.
Which they did.
$100,000. But that's not your job to police.
Yeah.
You lost. For now, this will change. I doubt we're going to win like 10 straight or something absurd. But for now, the last 4 years, Columbus has been Ann Arbor South. Okay? Michigan owns you for now. So they have every right to plant that flag.
Yep.
As Oklahoma did, as Texas did to us. Okay?
Yep.
Flag planting is a part of the sport. You want to get rid of it? Okay.
Get
rid of it in the future or win the game. But it's unacceptable for you to start a fight over that. Absolutely unacceptable. But I think...
Especially when it, multiple rounds of just...
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Wow.
I'm sorry. You have to get in there and break it up. You can't just stand there and watch it. But I think the biggest part of this is, in my opinion, of all the teams I've rooted for in my life, all the rivalries, all the games, local teams, state of Michigan, in my opinion, this is the biggest upset win in a rivalry game ever. This is including Lions, Red Wings, Michigan State, whoever. My opinion, this is the biggest of all time. At least in we'll even say your lifetime, because you're a bit older than me. So
I know my birthday's in a few days, by the way.
How old are you now?
28. I'm going to be 29.
Happy birthday to us both. So.
And when was how old are you now?
Mine was Sunday. I'm 20.
Oh, cool.
So you've been alive 29 years. Would you agree with me? This is the biggest upset in Michigan sports history in the last 29 years. Because I would. And I would honestly say...
No, there was a bigger upset.
What?
When Appalachian State beat you guys.
I would argue that's not, though, because...
But that was when you guys lost.
Yeah, but I would argue that Michigan team was bad, that they weren't good. And I would also argue that...
They won the rest of the games.
Not really.
I think so.
No. We were 9-3 or 8-4.
3-4. Well, look, there's only a few minutes left. I do want to bring this up. This is the last show of the semester, right?
Great semester.
Yeah, it's been a great semester because finals is next week. We're not going to have a show next week.
Right.
We're not going to have a show for a little while, but hopefully we'll be back next semester. When the Super Bowl's in February, so we'll have plenty of time to talk about
that.
Okay.
I want to talk about one more thing.
One more thing,
We'll get to that.
because I know you have a meeting to get to.
Because I got one big thing I want to close the semester with.
All right, go right ahead.
I want to know, and then we'll cut.
Yes.
What has been your favorite moment on the air of this semester? And I'll go first because I asked the question.
Sure, go right ahead.
My favorite moment was when Michigan. It was a stretch of weeks.
Yeah.
First, it was Michigan, Ohio State. Then it was Michigan, the semifinal. Then it was Michigan, the Natties. We talked about all three.
Yep.
I said for sure we'd lose to Ohio State by a lot. You said pump the brakes. I think you might win this game. Then I said, oh, Alabama's going to blow us out. And you said pump the brakes. I think you might win this game.
Yep.
Then I said it's going to be really close against Washington, man. I don't know. And you said pump the brakes. You're going to win by a lot.
I got a lot of money from that game.
But my point is, that was one of my favorite moments.
By asking my roommate on accident.
The Michigan fan, sat into your pessimistic going, we're going to lose, we're screwed. You, the Michigan State fan, said, have some faith.
No, you guys, you have a special team.
Thank the Lord, you ended up being right.
Yep.
Okay, what was your favorite moment?
My favorite moments were the rants about our NMU football team, because I feel like that, like what we said, obviously it's something that we believe, truthfully, as well as reflecting an opinion of the student body, because it kind of represents, how, the show, we do it for you guys, and
woohoo!
Yeah. And, being able to say what we believe and why, I think is very important.
It's
and
awesome. Yeah.
Being able to go as far as we can in regards to the opinions that we make, especially when it comes to saying, like for me after the Alma game, that the coach should be fired.
Right. We said that all year long.
Like,
I got a lot,
it's important,
but I think that was two great moments on this show. Of a great many. And it's been a great semester. Happy holidays. Happy
of course
finals week to you and to everybody else. And it's been a great semester, and I look forward to doing it again next semester.
Yeah.
So thank you to our viewers. Thank you, Dom. And we will see you in January.
Of course. And basically what Jack said. But it was definitely enjoyable. We will probably be back in January after break. And once again, you can find our recordings of the Jack and Dom Radio Show where you can find podcasts, whether it be on Amazon, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Just look up the Jack and Dom Radio Show. So this is WUPX 91.5 FM HD1 Marquette. We will see you guys next semester.